Hi everyone! So my most watched video to date is my experience at a Lush store and why I no longer shop there. This was about 2.5 years ago and I still get people commenting on my other videos about that video. I had to turn the comments off on that video because it was just really getting out of hand. So hopefully that doesn't happen here. Fingers crossed. I think I'm in a better headspace now. I've talked about the effect of that video before and just sort of like the comments and just craziness. But one of the biggest questions I get asked is, have I even gone back to a Lush store? Do I shop there now? The answer is simple. No, I do not shop at Lush and I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I really, truly don't. I spent a lot of money at Lush before, money that was quite literally going down the drain. So I don't have any desire to go back to the store. I don't have any desire to spend money there. When I have one in bath bombs or like fancy soaps, I look local. I look at little like artisanal shops and Etsy, and it's still something that I might do once a year. It's not a every week kind of thing. Like I was really into Lush before. I do have notes I will mention. When I do videos like this, I like to make sure that I have my notes so that I don't miss anything, because it's really easy to go off on a tangent and then miss a chunk of what you wanted to talk about. So just in case somebody's going to be like, but you kept looking down, you were lying. That was something I got in that Lush video comments a lot. And it's because I had bullet points so that I made sure that I remembered everything that I wanted to talk about. So anyway, just thought that I would throw that out there. It's been pretty easy to avoid Lush, honestly. I just don't go to the mall much. I ordered online from Lush one time and it was crazy expensive and just not something that I ever really felt the need to revisit again. I don't hear a lot of people talk about Lush anymore. Lush seems to have faded a little bit in popularity. In my opinion, maybe it's just the circles that I'm in and the content that I consume, that I just don't see or hear people talk about Lush. I did a quick little news search and I saw a lot of generic press releases about various Lush collections, not even stuff from like bloggers like I used to see and people reviewing collections. I did a YouTube search and some of the newest content, like small channels doing massive reviews. Like that's something I've noticed with like the videos get like maybe 100 views, but it's somebody like, here's me unboxing the entire Lush collection. It's crazy. And I see a lot of ASMR artists using Lush products in their videos, which tend to be sent to them. I noticed in the description boxes of a few of them, they said not sponsored, but products supplied by Lush. And those do still seem to be pretty popular, but it's weird that Lush seems to have moved a little bit away from the beauty community and into the ASMR community. It's very interesting kind of switch there, but I think I just avoid those videos. I do watch or listen to some ASMR stuff, but I avoid the Lush stuff because it just makes me way too anxious. I could definitely be wrong, but I think the diminishing appearance of Lush, at least in my social spaces, has made it easier to avoid or even really think about going back there. And I had thought about it, and I will explain sort of the issue because I know I'm very privileged. My experience is not incredibly dramatic, it's just incredibly personal, and that's something like I know some of these like story time videos, it's like shocking and people are trying to incite reaction, and sometimes people have really terrible customer service interactions that are based off of their appearance. It's a lot of racism. You see some gender discrimination, you see discrimination based on sexual orientation and religion. I know I'm very privileged to not have had that kind of experience, but my personal stuff has still affected me. Now, I have had other negative customer service experience at other beauty stores as well. These are things that I've mentioned from time to time and mentioned in different other spaces, but I haven't really talked about here. And I think it's interesting to look at those experiences compared to the Lush experience and why that one hit me so hard. I've had a bad experience at pretty much all the beauty stores. At Shoppers Drug Mart, which is a drugstore in Canada, they have a whole separate beauty section. But this time that I had this experience, it was different than it is now. But I was like 21, 22. I was going to get foundation matched and I had, no makeup on, but fairly decent skin. I do have psoriasis, and at the time I had a flare up on my eyelids, and the makeup artist took one look at me and said that she wasn't even gonna bother color matching me to foundation. There was no point. I shouldn't wear makeup until I sorted out my skin stuff. That was a really difficult experience. I didn't wear makeup for a couple of years and then slowly kind of got into it, and then things went crazy. But I definitely struggled with that a little bit because I was just like, I don't think it's that bad. Why wouldn't you match me? Like, it was definitely a weird experience. I don't avoid shoppers. I don't avoid the beauty section. I do sometimes avoid that particular beauty section in that shoppers just because it does make me a little bit nervous. I don't think that makeup artist still works there, but I deal with anxiety. I have an anxiety disorder, so that's the stuff that sticks with me. I also had an experience at a MAC store where I went to get shade matched there as well, and no makeup. Went with a friend. She was gorgeous and had her makeup flawless, and the store was empty. Two makeup artists were there. One was matching me, the other was sitting there sort of chatting. Both of them spent the whole time complimenting my friend, talking about how beautiful my friend was, ignoring me. I was asking questions. So I was like, what do you think about this product? What should I do with this? And I was being totally dismissed because they were talking about my friend and how beautiful she was. And I was like, this is really weird. And at the end, when I went to go pay still, anyway, I mean, I was not super happy with the way that I had been treated there because I really felt completely ignored, but I was like, whatever, I came to get foundation matched. And when I went to go purchase, I even asked her about a brush she'd use to put powder on. And she just did like this thing where she looked me up and down and she's like, you know, our brushes are really expensive, right? It's like, wow. And so I got it. I didn't need it, definitely didn't need it, but that reaction made me buy the brush. And I avoided shopping in store at MAC for a while and shopped online. And I did go back to the MAC store, and it's been wonderful. Like, there's so many fantastic makeup artists that are just so kind and have been so helpful, and I've had really good conversations with, and they've shared a lot of great tips with me. And I love my local MAC store now, but I did not love that experience. Like, it was just really uncomfortable. But again, I know I'm very privileged. This is very like minor things, but being someone with those anxiety issues, it was difficult to deal with at the time. And I had an issue at Sephora with a sales associate. She was with an older woman, and she was kind of just bringing her around the store, and this woman was like filling her basket full of stuff. And everywhere I was, it seemed that they wanted to be, and the sales associate would just kept pushing me out of the way, like literally pushing, nudging me out of the way. She'd open the bottom of the displays to get extra product out when I was standing right there, and wouldn't even ask me to move. She'd just open it. It would go against my leg and I'd have to move back, and she wouldn't say sorry. She didn't say excuse me. Like, I'm Canadian. That was a very weird experience for me. It just felt like I didn't exist. Like, she couldn't even see me. It just kept happening. I kept trying to get out of the way. It just kept happening. I was really like uncomfortable, and I was like, I'm just gonna get my thing and go. And I went to go stand in the line to pay, and it's my turn to go next. And the sales associate swoops in with her client and says to the cashier, "You're going to serve her next," and brings her up in front of me. And I was like, what the heck? I was so offended. It really was like I didn't exist. I was like, yeah, I was buying like 2 products. This woman had a huge basket full of stuff. But that's not okay. You don't just do that. Like, the cashier looked at me and just kind of like shrugged her shoulders, kind of like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to do that, because I only had one cashier working at the time. And I was just like, okay, like, I really wanted to leave, but I also really wanted to repurchase that stuff that I was buying, so I just sucked it up and waited. The cashier was sort of apologetic when I went up, but I just felt awful. Like, I really just felt so invisible and just not treated very well. I don't know the exact word, but it was definitely just something that kind of hurt my spirit a little bit. Like, it's not an experience that I had had at a Sephora before, or any kind of store like that. It's not an experience I've had at Sephora since. So why Lush and not any of those other stores? So I will say, I have nothing against Lush. I think their message is great. I think the concept is great. It's just the sales tactics, the way they train their employees. I don't know if it's changed. Obviously, I haven't been in a store since, but like that pushy behavior, like having people touch you without asking, without you giving permission, as someone who deals with issues like that, that was not okay. Putting product in my basket, I have a really hard time saying no. I can sense that I'm getting anxious again because I'm like doing this thing. But even that might have been okay. Like, I'm sure that's happened to me from time to time with people in that store that maybe I was in a better mood, but that combined with the, being yelled at, lectured in front of a full store by the sales associate who was just so mean to me and just, nasty to me in her language, very incredibly difficult, and it's still like it still makes me anxious thinking about it, remembering it. When I think actually about shopping in a Lush store, I think about that experience. I think about that happening, even though I know like it wouldn't happen necessarily. I don't think someone's gonna come up and say that to me. I'm not gonna be participating in the recycling program, but there's still that part of me that's like that fear, and I just sort of close up and I'm just like, you know what, not worth it. I don't need to go to that store that badly. It was also a really bad time in my life when that happened, when things were really difficult compared to some of the other situations, except for the Sephora one. But I think it hit because it was so personal. The other ones felt impersonal. Like it was very much like I was just invisible. I was ignored, like I didn't exist, which is difficult to deal with, but it wasn't about me personally. It wasn't someone in my space. It wasn't someone directly addressing me and calling me out so publicly over something that I felt like I didn't deserve to be called out that way for. Like it was very embarrassing. You know, I can kind of feel like my heart racing. I have occasional panic attacks and stuff, so I just feel like if I did go into a Lush store, that would probably end up happening. I'm just not there, and maybe someday I will want to. I'm not interested in revisiting that store. I'm not interested in giving them my money and my time. Just not. I'm not interested in shopping online. I'm just fine with everything else. I've survived. I flourished. You know, I haven't been hurt in any way by not shopping at that store. So it's unfortunate that the experience happened, but it happened, and it's not something that I feel like I will be forgetting or necessarily forgiving. So that's where that stands. So I'm gonna link this video in the description of my other Lush video, and hopefully some people will see that and then come here and leave my other videos alone. That's sort of something I'm hoping will happen with this, which is why I'm doing it, because it gets irritating sometimes kind of having to field those questions on other videos. So that's where I stand on Lush. I'm trying to calm down again. I just feel like this is something I really needed to do for me and get this all out and all over with again, hopefully. We'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I would love to hear from you. If you have shopped at a Lush store recently, let me know if their sales tactics have changed at all. If you've noticed anything different, I'm curious about that. But anyway, thank you once again. Hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.